Hello, and welcome back everyone to another episode of Roamer's Monthly Recap. The perfect video if you are starting to play World vs. World, you are a returning player, or maybe a new one, or if you just simply want to take a look at some of our adventures and maybe pick up some builds. Today's edition it's kinda special because, as you probably know, the new expansion Visions of Eternity released not too long ago, and as the Ranger main that I am, I wanted to get all the juice from the new elite spec, the Galeshot. We are going to do a quick introduction to the theme of the spec, see what the Galeshot is all about, followed up by a quick explanation of its base mechanics, and then I will proceed to go over one specific, really cool fight on each of the 3 different builds that I crafted. Oh, and not to worry, because if you want to have more details on any of those, I will leave a link in the description below to each of the build guides. So, for those of you that just recently joining the game and are still wondering what the Galeshot is all about, just know that this is a spec centered around power damage, high mobility with an extra range option. Yes, I say extra because you can run your usual set of 2 weapons, but you still get the Gw2 no matter what, which makes it, in my opinion, a really fun, high risk, high reward spec directed towards all of those rangers wanting to fulfill sort of a true archer playstyle. Without further ado, let's just go over the basics on the Galeshot really quick. It's quite simple. Now you have an extra cyclone bow, so to speak, that you can pop in and out, like this, without restrictions anytime you want. Now, when you swap into this Gale bow, you have a resource. These resources are 8 arrows, which are going to be consumed in order for you to use skills on the Gale bow. This one has a 3 arrow cost, this one has 2, this one has 1, and this one has 1. You might have noticed that those skills are gonna give you win for stacks. These stacks are gonna rank up to 5, and when you reach 5, you gain access to Hawkeye. Your basic attack is gonna transform into basically an AoE rapid barrage that hits really hard, gives you a bunch of boons like Fury, Quickness, and Super Speed, and yeah, it's just sort of like a finisher pew pew. Let's take a look. This, we have 5, and that's a Hawkeye, right there. As you can see, it's a pretty basic kit, and the beauty of this spec is the fact that you can combine any 2 weapons that you like me for example, I like to run 2 melee weapons, and then you still have a ranged weapon thanks to the Gale bow. Now, there are new skills called Squalls. Some of them really complement the new playstyle, and are really fun to use. I suggest you experiment with all of them, and if you just don't want to think too much about it, like I said, there will be 3 full video guides and you can choose and pick from there. One of them is actually using this exact same setup full of squalls. So yeah, pretty fun. Without further ado, let's just go over the first clip on my first build, and personally this is my favorite. This is the dual mace version. It offers a nice combination of sustain, mobility, damage, stunlock potential. I think it's the more versatile, so to speak. We're gonna start the fight against a 1v1 on this Ritualist, which is, you know, a really tough opponent, but thankfully Galeshot has the tools to space them out and slowly wither away. Now this becomes a 2 versus 1 right here, so I tried to set up a kill with my ultimate, but after fighting the Hawkeye, I see that this is still a little bit far, so I decide to take some distance. Now, I look at them and I see that they are really hyper aggressive, so I'm gonna try to set up a dual mace stunlock combo and try to bring one or hopefully both of them down. After the days on the Warhorn, we go for the mace stun, get him there. Number 5, reset on the maces, and here we go again. We managed to find one guy down. Unfortunately here, I make a crucial mistake and go for damage instead of immediately swapping to Gale bow and using Supersonic Arrow for the day's interrupt on the Ranger. I realize my mistake and I go for it, but it's just slightly too late and he gets the rest. I see, however, that I have my Hawkeye once again back up, and this guy's route is about to end, so I think I can recover. I take some distance, fire off my Hawkeye, and it's not enough, but I can reset this, get into stealth, get close to him, and prepare for the kill with my Warhorse number 4 into Piercing Gale's combo. There we go, right there, and he goes down. Now the issue is trying to bait this Ranger, which is full HP, into my mace inside the ultimate combo, which we do right here. I realize I can come back from it just by getting the sustain from the maces and hopefully a reset. Now we use the stun break there, not for the stun break but for the block charge. Then with the mace reset and the heal coming back up, we can go for the kill. He pops the signet of stun, so we try to fly away and finish the guy on the ground. We just get dazed though. Unfortunately, the Ranger just got us with the daze, and now our life is pretty much over. I wanted to showcase this clip because it's one where not everything goes perfect and according to plan, but this build allows you to make those mistakes and still recover from them and try to make something good. Moving on to the build number 2, or as I like to call it, the stealth shot. This one is a high risk, high reward with two slightly different variations. One of them is going to be using Storm Spirit and the other one Signet of the Hand. If you would like to know why and how they work together with all the synergies and stuff, I have a full video guide. Once again, it's linked in the description below. Check it out if it's something you might be interested in. But for now, let's focus on this 1v1 against an Untamed, which is a very interesting matchup. They have projectile negation, you're about to see right there in this green blob, and honestly, they're still super strong. If you are not careful, they're gonna burst you down. As you can see, my strategy is gonna be making use of my increased range thanks to the Gale Bow, of course, and right there I fish for a nice opener with the root. We connect it, we evade back, and then we're gonna fish for the Supersonic Arrow. Although he gets into stealth, I know that arrow connected and we managed to dodge his leap for the kill. After firing off the Hawkeye, I can see he's low and I'm gonna try to finish the job right there, but I'm gonna make a little bit of a mistake here. I should have gone for the spear throw, not to try and close the distance, and at this point I realized that there's no need to risk it because these guys are extremely strong on melee range and I'm playing Galeshot after all. So stealth, reposition, that's the correct play. Once again zone with the root right there, once again evade, and we keep fishing for another burst with the Gale Bow. He uses projectile negation right there. This means we have to change our approach a little bit. Perfect time to get into stealth and use our spirit right there for the daze and massive damage. Boom, into the Gale Bow, and we finish the job with another Hawkeye. Well played, my friend. Now, this wasn't the cleanest, but once again, this is the strength of this build. You can try to reposition if something doesn't go right or doesn't go fully your way. You can just stealth, reposition, and try again. It's very squishy, it's very high risk, high reward, but honestly, very fun and very rewarding to play. And now, because a lot of you guys asked for a little bit of a guideline into the opener of the Galeshot, I'm gonna showcase the Signet version of this build and what would be the ideal opener. You drop your smoke cloud, you want to get into stealth using Warhorse number 5, get close enough so you can connect with your Warhorse number 4. This is going to be massive amounts of damage and vulnerability stacks. Use Unblockable to secure the kill. Use Supersonic Arrow. There you go, into number 2, into a number 4 for the reset, and there you have your Hawkeye. Usually people will die from this already if they are not paying attention and they get caught by it. And then because this build has tons of stealth and tons of repositioning, you can more or less always fish for those windows of opportunity and try to sort of pull this combo as much as you can. Here we're gonna take another look. This time we don't connect with the Warhorse number 4, but it doesn't matter, we still do massive amounts of damage, same rotation, and finish with the Hawkeye. There we go. That being said, don't forget that the beauty of this build is every single one of your weapons is a killing machine, and you can pull killer combos in every single one of them. Alrighty, moving on to the last but definitely not least, my build number 3 for the Galeshot. This one is utilizing one of the strongest combination of traits for the Ranger, marksmanship with wilderness survival. Alongside a bunch of survival skills, this makes it, in my opinion, the best one to pick up if you are just starting with the Galeshot. The sheer combination of stun breaks, mobility, evasion, and overall tools to get away from any tough spot, using the greatsword for extra mobility and the blocks, it's just super good. We're also using the ultimate that gives us a bunch of stacks of stability, which is something that the Galeshot really lacks. I personally like this build a lot, almost as much as I like the version number 1. Definitely it has a little bit less damage, a little bit less sustain, but for sure more mobility. And now you're about to see what I consider to be my best ever play with the Galeshot overall. Not just with this build, but combining all three of them. I have made very cool plays, but nothing quite like this one in my opinion. As you can see, we keep dueling this guy, we're just having fun, he's trying out stuff, I'm trying out stuff, and in the middle of the duel, I start seeing some other blues that might have funny ideas. Now I switch my brain into 1v2 mode. I say 1v2 because the thief is actually going to respect this and step away. The first thing I want to do is drop my smoke, get into stealth and run away a little bit, reposition, making use of that amazing greatsword, and target the Galeshot because that's gonna be the easiest. Apologies for slowing this down even more, but it's going to be great. I can see the Hawkeye animation from the enemy Galeshot, so I instantly react to it by using my own evade on the Gw2, and then I try to set up a play. Unfortunately, I take a lot of damage and I realize I have to play somewhat aggressively. I use one dodge, my protect, for the barrier and protection up, and that allows me to cast somewhat safely my 10 stack of stability, my ultimate, which in return allow me to tank the enemy CC, fire off my own ultimate with supersonic arrow, and immediately dropping the enemy Galeshot almost down to 0. I'm gonna go for the finish on the Hawkeye. Unfortunately, it gets reflected by the enemy mechanism, but I have a solution. Swap the greatsword using my mobility, my number 3, which has a built-in evasion window, just to finish the Galeshot. From there, I'm gonna use my dodge, then my block, and just stall for a few seconds until I have my heal up, because I know if I manage to get a heal and just distance myself a bit, I can recover from this. I use the CC that comes along after blocking with the greatsword. That allows me to cast my Troll Ungwen. It's not an immediate healing, so I still need to be careful. Trade off a little bit of damage. Then we're gonna be using one more dodge roll. We have a lot of them in this build. Swap to sword. Use my sword number 3, which once again comes with a built-in evade window. Then daze with my Warhorn 5 into the finish with once again another evade and the Gale Bow. There we go. That was just so cool. I was zoned in for this one. I believe this is the coolest clip I have for the Galeshot so far, and that doesn't mean I don't like the other builds or they are necessarily better or worse. It just happens to be that this one is very high APM, but also very beginner friendly, especially if you are new to the Galeshot. And yeah, it was the perfect showcase of the tons of evasion and utility with the greatsword, so very nice clip there. Finally, we're gonna move on to the section where we talk about which one of the 3 different builds I like most, which one I think it's better and why. Alrighty, without further ado, I think you guys figured it out by now, but the version I like the most is Galeshot number 1, which is the version utilizing the dual maces and the Relic of Zakiros. Also, very important to note, the reason why I like it more is because of the unique interaction with Carnivore and the amount of dazes we have in the build. Right there, I believe it also procs with Perfect Storm, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna proc multiple times thanks to the maces, and overall it adds something that the Galeshot really needs. Galeshot is really lacking on the sustain department, and Carnivore is the perfect trade if you're using this version of the build that allows you to deal damage while gaining sustain all at the same time. The build also utilizes survival instincts, which gives, you know, a nice chunk raw damage and defense boost, very nice. And the rest is pretty much explained in the build guide, but also the other side I really like on this build, it's the secondary pet. The Ether Hunter goes really well with the Gelbo because, well, this is a CC on 1.2k range, and you guessed it, we are about 1.2k range and 1.5 on a lot of skills. So from all the pets, this is one that has one of the most reliable CCs, long distance CCs in the entire game, and it's also tanky enough so it won't die completely, completely fast, or it will die to piece. Yep, those are the reasons why I think this one is the more balanced and more fun to play. Also the fact that you can swap Piercing Edge right here, you can swap it for the Signet, of Stone, of the Hunt, you can go for, I don't know, whatever you like, you can go for an extra Sunbreak on Protect Me, you could go for Quickening Zephyr if you really like the Sunbreak plus Quickness. It's very versatile, Lightning Reflexes also goes very well here, so yeah, overall, super strong build, you can't go wrong with it. You are very deadly on melee range, people don't expect it because you play around with Gelbo so much, but then you suddenly have the Sword Warhorn, and if they are overcommitting and they have no stability up, you can stun lock them and deal massive amounts of damage with the maces. At the same time, you are getting heals thanks to the, building kit from the maces and the carnivore trait. So yeah, that's why I love and why I think from the 3 builds I've put up there for the Galeshot, this one is the best. That doesn't mean I think the other 2 builds are weak by any means, and they are super fun, it's just my personal preference when it comes to the playstyle. Stealth Shot or build number 2 has high risk, high reward, sort of a thief cosplay built in, and it can be very fun, but it can be also very frustrating at some times. While on build number 1, I have never been frustrated and never been out of options. Now, build number 3, which is kinda similar to build number 1, but just using the Greatsword and the Condic Lens we get from Wellness Knowledge. Also using different traits here. Seriously, go watch go watch the build guide. It's worth it. But anyway, build number 3 has a little bit less damage, a little bit less sustain, but in return we have tons of mobility, tons of evasion, and once again, it's very close to build number 1, but I still think that the fact you can swap into the maces and completely turn around at number situations, it just has an edge over the other one. So yeah, that's about it guys, that's it for this video. Also, I wanted to make a little bit of an announcement. These holidays are gonna be extremely busy for me, both at work, both with family, with friends coming over, all that good stuff. I had delayed this Roamers Monthly recap already enough because of tons of things happening, and honestly, I think I'm just gonna try to pull off a lot of streams, and I'm not sure when I will be able to edit more videos. I have something in mind, I have something prepared for the Amalgam, I just can't compromise to make it happen during December and early January. So what you can expect, for sure, more streams. I'm gonna try to stream at least 2 times a week just to compensate for the lack of, or possible lack of videos. And yeah, if I can, I will still upload videos on Monday, but if not, you know why. And overall, I think this is just time for family and friends anyway, so probably lots of you are not gonna be paying too much attention anyway. Alright, having said all of that, thank you guys for watching. I hope this is a good informative video for some of you, and see you in the next one. Cheers!